We're with Coach Frye, getting ready for the Bob Pollock meet up in Clemson, South Carolina this weekend. Coach, we got a smaller contingent going up than we've had at our home meets, but we still have a lot of good athletes coming up here this weekend. What are you most excited to go and see from the team?
Well, a lot about the team is just how we handle going on the road, because we got to go on the road for the SEC championship. But a bigger thing is me for the joy of going to Clemson is Bobby Pollock was a really good friend of mine, and he passed a few years back. He won many ACC championships. He was a men's head coach, and it's kind of a chance. There's going to be some real memories knowing that they're not going to have men's track any longer. I think about poor Bobby and how hard he fought to make track important in the state of South Carolina, and the opportunities he gave young men in the sport. And then he was able to get a facility named after him. So it's a lot, for one of the older coaches, and to see the legacy of a guy go down like this kind of gives me a little shiver in going up there to honor him by having a track meet and be involved in his track meet at his facility, and it's a memory for me. And our kids are ready. We got two kids whose parents graduated from Clemson that are running, and Stephanie is to be her first event. She'll run around mile relay this week to get her back going. And then EJ, his father was on the ACC champion 4x4 team back in the day, back in their 80s. And so those are things that get ready to go. And then the other part is just the fact that our kids get a chance to go away from home and get a markup. COVID has presented its problems for our kids that are coming back to train, and this gives us a few weeks where we've been free of COVID, and that's exciting. But free doesn't mean that you're able to. We are finding that the training is behind, and it's harder to get back to where some people were. So some of those things are affecting our team a little bit. But it's 4 weeks in, so we're excited. The kids they want to go away to a track meet, and it's going to be quite a track meet.
And this will be the first 2-day meet. I know it doesn't affect everybody in regards to their competition, but how do you look at it from that standpoint with having the 2 days instead of it just being all in 1 day?
Well, the SEC is a 3-day meet, and so everything is kind of a lesson or a class or a mini exam for the big exam. We're under a month away from the SEC championship. So this is the only time we get to stay in a hotel, run 1 day, stay in a hotel, run the next day. We have to formulate an eating schedule and such that the pattern of traveling a large group of kids. We travel 2 buses, and where girls on one bus where there are alternate seats such that nobody's close to each other. So those are adjustments that'll have to be made, except we'll be traveling through an airport going to Arkansas. We can't, you try to mimic the conditions as close as you can in preparation for a championship, because we all are creatures of habits. What's new to people causes a response of many times a panic or something out of their control. The more things you can control for student athlete in competition, the more things you can take out of their hands where they don't worry about those things. And in turn, it gives our staff an opportunity, our Kendra a chance to move this team, and Coach D and them to watch an outdoor warm-up area with tents and things, because Arkansas is going to be similar to where nobody can be in the building, and except for the running event that you got on. And Clemson is set up similar to where you got to get a tent with a heater on the outside, and you warm up on the outdoor track, and then you come in 15 minutes and check in, and you're on the track, and you're immediately back out. So, how do you keep the kids to cool down if it's really cold, and which Arkansas may be? These are just things that we can make some mistakes here, or or do we get it all right here? And we'll keep some things that we have that we're setting up and get ready to move. And we got some ideas because we've run our home meets here. So it gives us a lot. Everything is a learning process, not just for our student athletes, but for the process. And that's why I love having experienced staff with questions so that we can try to eliminate the details so that our kids we can file it on Teamworks, which is how they get their information, so that they can ask questions, so they can know what time we're going to eat, so the captains can refute what it is and how you do, so you can explain to them, so that they can explain to others. So there are lots of things that go with moving. This is going to be a 60-person operation. We got a new massage therapist. Got to move him because he's going to be with at the conference meet, and he comes out of Atlanta. So there's just so many little things that go into details to making sure our student has the best experience, and has the quality experience, and has something that they can get a norm from. So we got our objectives as a staff to make sure that as we tell parents when they send their kid to school, that we run a group, a team, a family, and the family's got to be prepared, and the kids trust us in that we're going to do those things. The administrative gives us the permission to do that. We got to make sure we don't miss classes, and they count. So we got to leave at 10 o'clock in the morning, since we can get there to run. I got a rule. You stay overnight if it's 4 hours away, because you can't stay on your legs and ride for 4 hours and get out and run 2 hours. Then it's okay to get out if you got 2 hours rest. The physics of what you're doing when you're going to do explosive events prevent you from having injuries. You don't want a $50,000 athlete getting injured because of a bad decision. So those are things that our kids they get that they don't know that they get. And but for his performances, we're looking for a return to the high jump. Our kids back on it. We're trying to get some marks in to get ready for a heptathlon for the next week here at home for Rachel. We're trying to get that mile relay off. We got Doval got hurt last week on the lead off of the mile relay, and so we got a 3:12, and we need to get 3:08 this week, and we're gonna make a substitution. But he was an All-American last year. Rivaldo will run, and so but we got little dings from last week. We're hoping to overcome. Will is feeling a little tight behind the knee. That scares him a little bit. We may make two substitutions.
Yeah, and from the regards of, you talked about, obviously you're getting ready for each meet as if it's like getting ready for the final exam at the end of the season. What do you kind of think about from a training perspective when you're going into that? Obviously you're kind of in that halfway point of the indoor season. How do you kind of crescendo that, and how are you guys kind of working towards, like you said, that final exam?
One of the big things, we're still in a loaded period. This is where the questions come from the kids about our training. When my legs are heavy, when am I going to feel fresh? And the danger is, normally that we go to New York, and when we're in New York, we're starting on our taper. This is kind of a similar for us. This week is the last week when we're actually still loaded in training, and they'll start tapering down, so we can run good next week at home, and then it's one event at the 13th meet, a week off, and the SEC championship. Now on our women's side, our quarter milers are basically running one event this week because they're running really heavy workouts this week, and so next week they also will start their taper. So we're pretty much both men and women will be tapering at the same time. So we should see. We're really excited about having girls run 54 flat and 50 NP running fast, because we took 11 days worth of practice because they went home and we couldn't practice light. We practiced heavy for the first track meet, and we had to practice heavy for the second meet, and race. The races had to be a part of training, and that's it's tough on the mind of athletes because they want to be their very best at the beginning of the season and at the end of the season. So that regression to progress is a difficult thing for them to go through. And then coaches, we have to be careful, because if they're not treating their bodies well when they went home for Christmas and they're not training, now you treating them hard and racing them, then injuries come about. So this is just COVID presents a whole different problem. We're on an SEC meeting this morning. We're not the only one addressing COVID, and we have to try to have 24 athletes, top 24 in the league, advance to Arkansas. Normally we can take anybody, just 27 people, no matter what. You take 27, they fit on the track, they get on the track and they race. This year we had to cut the number of people in the building. So that means we had each team, each event is 24. Now you got to make sure you got 14 kids to count as a team that fit in your 24. So there are lots of stuff that's going. We're juggling balls in the air, and I'm excited about juggling. Health and COVID determine your 24. And so it ain't over until the last minute, until 2 days before they step on a line. You could have people in the top 24 come with COVID, or somebody else could, and you got somebody that's really number 30. But if 6 kids get knocked out, then you're number 30. He gets to go line up. The number 1 kid in the conference could be the kid that can line up. So the conference meet this year is going to have a lot of different things. When you look at it, same as basketball or all the other sports, it's who can play on that day, who can line up, determines where you are. Yeah. And that's unfortunate that the conditions control it. But I'm thankful that we've learned how to manage 600 people in a building. I think we've done well. I'm going to watch, and it's going to be fun to watch how we manage this. We took our COVID test this morning. Well, man, 3 weeks in a row sticking that stick in your nose. Every week I have anxieties the night before, and I'm sure our kids do. But at 6 o'clock in the morning, they all line up and they go get their test, and then that tells me that they're wanting to go. It's not that I love being at home. You're afraid of having home track meets all the time because it becomes your Olympics. You're great at home, can't play on the road. This is, can we play on the road? Exactly.
Well, is there anything else you want to mention, Coach?
No, just proud of the fact that we still our sport is the most diverse sport in sport, in all of sport. We have internationals from all continents, and then we have all people of all races, genders, sexual orientations, and religion. What a beautiful, beautiful sport. And next week we're going to be able to live stream it so that people can watch a fantastic meet here at the University of South Carolina. And I'm excited about going to Clemson, but I'm excited about displaying the diversity so America and people get a chance to see. Because the word is people don't understand track, but they can understand the love in the sport. Track athletes cheer and pull for a great performance. Last week we had a young man here run the fastest time in the world for that day from Georgia in the 400 meters. And every kid in the building is cheering for that guy. And then we had kids come from A&T State University, and we had kids cheering for the performances of their 4x4 that were in the stands from all the schools to watch greatness. Watching greatness is what athletics is, and people's track is athletics. A person who says they enjoy sport but don't enjoy head-to-head athletics, where it's displayed higher, farther, or faster, that is athletics. And so track and field is the top exemplary of diversity, higher, farther, faster.
Awesome, Coach. Well, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.